We're live. No music. No musical lead in.
Yeah, they don't deserve it. What the fuck, man? Candidly. The thing we talked about all week, right? Don't poop the bed. Don't poop the bed. Don't poop the bed. What do?
If you listen closely, if you just stop and listen, you can hear all the positive momentum being sucked out and evaporating at a rapid pace.
Oh my God. Like, this has been just, straight up and down ass beating. Stats wise, Louisville has outgained USF 329 to 84 in the first half. The Bulls have 6 first downs. Louisville has 19. They're 4 of 8 on third down, 2 of 2 on fourth down. They're averaging 8 yards per play, averaging 8.2 yards per rush. Malik Cunningham has 8 carries, 106 yards, and 3 touchdowns, and he's added another 100 in the air with a touchdown. And on those 3 rushing touchdowns, Malik has been touched maybe once, and that was as he was jumping into the end zone on his 3rd rushing touchdown of the day.
The net has touched Malik Cunningham more than USF.
Yeah. You get half a step forward, was it Tramel Logan and Hansford combined for a sack, and then you give up a 3rd and 18, and they go down and score a couple of plays later. It's the thing we feared.
Yeah, and the defensive side of the ball is not as surprising, right? Because we talked about it during the week. The recipe for success last week is that they only let Florida run 48 plays. Florida still averaged over 7 yards a play, I think, in the game. So It's not like they really shut them down. It's just they didn't really have the ball very much. They turned them over, so that helped. That ain't happening tonight. So it's kind of the same defense you saw the first couple of weeks minus the turnovers. And here's kind of the advanced stats. Purple is bad. Green is good. So it's hard to read, but you got EPA per play, success rate. And these are like offensively, you're talking about the 0th percentile, which is this is based on all FBS.
Is that good?
It is not. The first percentile, the 0th percentile in the rushing game. So, I think we probably didn't adjust we both predicted that they would lose pretty handily.
Right.
We didn't adjust our predictions for the offense minus the receivers. Louisville did a good job of just being like, okay, you're down those receivers, man coverage, we're going to blitz you. Good luck running the ball. And when USF has had guys open, you've gotten some drops. So I thought before those last 2 picks where I don't know if he's just trying to do too much to try to get back in the game in one play. I thought Bohannon was throwing the ball all right early, but it's just been a nightmare since once that first pick happened, that broke the seal, and it's just been he's kind of played poorly since then.
It's been pretty bad, and I don't know which interception was worse, the first one or the second one. First one, I couldn't tell you who he was throwing to. The second one was just as bad. Brody, do you have any thoughts?
Oh, can you say bad yet?
Can you say bad? No. He was trying to. He gave the microphone a hug because everybody needs a hug these days. It's been brutal. The
other thing. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The game plan has been very. To me, the game plan has looked more like we'll see if we can pull this one out. We're not putting anything extra. It is totally different than your game plan last week against Florida with all the motion, all the movement, all the read in the run game. To me, it's like let's get our guys. Now, unfortunately, you had Donovan Jennings go down, but it seems to me like the game plan is let's get some guys out. Let's get guys out of here healthy for the next week. Because it's been very conservative offensively.
Yeah,
which, with 3 receivers out, you kind of imagine. But even in the run game, it's not the same stuff you saw last week.
The run game's not been very nearly as inventive as I would have hoped. Early in the game they ran a couple of QB powers, a couple of QB draws that got them chunk yards, and then kind of gone away from it. The real pass heavy. That may be because of what the score is, but at what point you're like, you know what, throwing the ball is not going to get us anywhere. Why don't we try to at least reestablish the run? Especially when you're midway through the second quarter, right? And you're down 21, 28, nothing. I mean, you pull back a score here right before halftime. It looks a little bit better, and then you can kind of build off that. But I mean, they went down swinging, and I think they picked the wrong way to do it.
Oh, I thought if you catch that ball in the end zone, you go 14-7, and then you're feeling a little bit better. But I thought when it's 21-0, you come out and throw the ball 3 straight plays. I thought that was a mistake. I feel like you're kind of it's too early to abandon running the ball totally, especially when you're down your top 3 or 3 of your top receivers, right?
Right.
So I don't know. I thought that was, and they did something similar against BYU. They got down early and they kind of abandoned the run game. And the worst thing you can do to your defense is keep putting them back out on the field. So if you're just going to keep going 3 and out throwing the ball, they're going to get really ugly. So this was the opposite of last week. Last week, great plan, well executed. So far this week, not a super inventive plan. This film room will not be fun.
No.
And we gave kind of our keys to the game in the pregame show. If you guys watched, it was keep Malik Cunningham kind of in check. Try to focus on him, and they run 2 speed options, and the guy goes for the pitch man and leaves Malik Cunningham. Bro, that's the guy. No, I each game is an individual thing. So like we'll see about Florida they may get blown out today, but I think each game is kind of an individual thing. I think USF played their best game of the year last week. You're seeing here they're not
best
able
game
to
of the Jeff Scott era.
Yeah. So
I almost said Jeff Scott terror, and it's leaning toward that.
Listen, I had to watch the first quarter from a black box over a screen on a YouTube stream, and I kind of wish I would have stayed watching it that way. But yeah, this everything we're like, okay, this is what you got to do. Explosive play battle, they're losing it. Turnover battle, they're losing it. They're winning the field position battle, but because Louisville caught a pick at the 1 yard line, and Malik Cunningham Malik Cunningham, keep him in check. Oof. Has not happened. And that's the kind of the thing. It's like, why are you on the speed option? Why make him pitch the ball?
Yeah.
He's their best player. Get the ball out of his hands. Make a pitch to the backup running back and make that guy beat you. So as good as last week was, I thought from a schematic standpoint, this week has been the exact opposite, which is disappointing.
Yeah. Brody went to go get chips. He has to eat his sorrows away. So congratulations, USF. You've done it again to another fan.
Yeah.
You're the reason I'm fat, USF. It's because I eat my pain away.
There might be a class action lawsuit here against this team. But yeah, this is we talked about last week. Don't make a 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 step back. Don't do that.
Well,
yeah,
they didn't listen.
No, this is just brutal.
Yep, and I mentioned on Twitter, this is now 11 of 22 FBS games under Jeff Scott that the Bulls trailed by more than 2 scores after the first quarter. So congrats on extending that, I guess. There's really nothing. There's no good thing about it. Punt coverage has been okay, I guess, is the one highlight of the
snap
day.
that went through the punter's leg got called off. So,
I mean, good Lord.
I mean, they're going to talk about the depth that the being down a few receivers. That's going to be that'll be the go-to post game. I'm sure.
We don't make excuses around here, but I mean, we were without Jimmy Horn, we were without Xavier Weaver.
Yeah.
But so it's tough to win without those guys, but we got to still make the plays, and we didn't, but we were without those guys. So
yeah, it's just and there is validity to that, but not this much, not like 28 points worth of validity.
no,
the line moved like a half point when people are starting to find out that all these guys are going to be out. So they're not worth 20 points, So yeah, it's I think it hurts you, but I think that might have been Louisville's thing regardless. Just, hey, let's be aggressive and see if they can beat us on the outside if we just play man. So they and the other thing, USF is not kind of running the same stuff they were last week. I've not seen a ton in the read game, not seen a ton with like the bash stuff and really putting guys in conflict. And
right.
They tried to run a screen early, which was it looked like it was a block away, but then I think another block got missed inside, but that wasn't a bad call. But they're just not a very good screen team, which would be helpful in a game like this. So
yeah, I'm not excited to see what the second half looks like. I'm not. I feel like Louisville's going to score maybe a touchdown, maybe another one here early, and then USF will start to mount a comeback once the
which
Louisville
will not count.
Pulls off.
We're not in garbage time yet, guys, so that's a positive.
So once we hit garbage time, USF will put a couple touchdowns on the board. But it feels like everybody's scores in play still-ish. Yours is probably a little bit more far-fetched.
What did I go?
38-24.
Yeah, probably. I don't see them getting if they score twice in the second half. I think I'd be surprised if they get to 17. So I don't think USF's going to hold their end of the bargain on that offensively.
I don't think so. And our guy, the guy we love, Amarian Dollison, has been brutal today. Brutal.
Yes. 2 key drops. The first one, a definite touchdown. The second one, if he catches that thing going full speed, it's at least a big play. So, yeah, this has been just a total shellacking. Yeah, there's no sugarcoating. There's not much positive or really anything positive.
No, not at all. But we promised you a halftime show. You got your halftime show.
We might skip the post-game show. I think there's not going to be much that changes, I think, what we're saying right now, unless there's a miraculous comeback.
Yeah. And USF gets the ball to start the second half, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I believe they kicked. I missed like the first 2 drives trying to find a way to watch the game.
Same.
Whoever said Bally in the pregame show was correct. ESPN 3 was not the answer. So
no,
big ups to him.
Yeah, shout out Davian. But we'll be back at either post game. I think we should probably do post game because I think it'll be more fun. I'll be honest.
Just a full. We need a call in line. It'll turn into like a fine bomb. It'll turn into like fine bomb after Alabama loses.
Seth and Nathan, they just, I don't know. These guys, they are playing people. Jeff's guy. He's not the guy.
The most.
We need to get Jim Levitt back. Bring it back to 06.
The most discouraging thing about this game to me is how creative they were last week, and it's all just poof gone. Like, did you put it all into last week? I don't know. It seems like it.
Honestly, with these injuries, it seems like they're like, we're not winning this game. Let's save.
And that seems like. I think that could be. I really do think there may be. They'll never admit that, and they'll never say we didn't try to win because you can still try to win. But it really seemed like this is a scaled down. Let's get out of the game without getting anybody hurt. Now they took their shots. They took some shots, but there's not. You haven't seen a ton of real creative stuff. So I don't know. Maybe this week with all the injuries, they're kind of like. All right, let's see what we can do. Then we'll get into conference play. But yeah, this has been bad. This is basically the exact opposite. Where last week you had a good plan, executed perfectly. This week, kind of a standard, not super crazy plan, and you're executing that terribly. And Bohannon is running for his life. So
God,
I don't think they intentionally punt the game, but it's like when you have all these guys hurt, and maybe they didn't know till the end of the week that these guys were going to officially be out. So maybe that kind of spiked some of their game plan.
Mm-hmm.
That does happen, right? Where you have a plan in. I remember, you remember it's turned into a similar game. 2019 Wisconsin. Right. They find out like the day before they're not going to have Ford for the game.
Right.
And been basically prepping the game plan with Ford for the whole, preseason practice. So then you got to scrap it and go to different stuff. So that could be the issue where they hope they're going to have these guys, had a nice plan in. Now they're not playing. You can't quite. You saw they gave Dawson the jet sweep. Doesn't quite replicate what Jimmy Horn gives you there. So we can. Jeff Scott is live right now. What's he saying?
And we've had some plays, had a touchdown, had another big opportunity, and just not making the plays. And then defensively, we've got to tackle better. We haven't tackled very well in the first half, and we got to clean that up.
Earlier this week, you told me you wanted your team to embrace adversity. How do you plan on doing that in the second half?
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out a lot about this team right here. Obviously, this wasn't the start that we want, but we got to be able to turn the page, make it a 0-0 game, and go one play at a time.
Thanks, Coach. Guys.
Did you hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, nothing revolutionary there.
Nope.
All right,
God talking better. Second half's about to start. We'll be back. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Even with this, I think you guys get a little bit more riled up when things are going south. But it's been south for about 4 years, so I don't blame you guys. We'll be back. Follow us on Twitter, Stampede SBN. We'll cut both live coverage of the second half, and we'll talk hopefully after the game if we feel like we should.
All right.
It
can't get much worse.
Oh, just you wait.